Hi, I'm Chef Raphael and welcome to my channel. Now today's video is a little bit different because I'm not cooking, but I'm talking about knives. Now this is one question that I get, which knife is best. So in this video I will try and break down the different types of knives that I already have and probably what you need most at home. Now these are knives that I've picked up over the years, over my career, and recently I just got a pack from Nakano knives. More about that later. I'll be unboxing this. I'll show you what they have, what I have from Nakano knives. But in this video I hope you learn something new and you'll appreciate why you need a good knife. Let's get started. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. More about that a little bit later. So again, these are knives I've picked up over the years. Like I have this one here, it's a Victorinox. It's really old. I've had it since 2007. That's about 13 years, 14 years, and it's still in good condition. It's a little bit warped on the edge. I think somebody dropped it and then it warped a little bit. But generally speaking, its condition is good. The blade is not, it's still intact. Right now it's not as sharp as I want it to be, but it's something that has served me for a long time. I like it because it's a big knife. You can chop big things, especially when you're working in a restaurant or a hotel. You need a big knife like this, and that you can be able to do big jobs. This is a chopping knife. I also have another version of a chopping knife here. This is another one I got as a gift from someone. I liked it because the blade is smaller. One thing I found with it, it's a little bit different from this one because it's more brittle. It gets chipped easily, but I've figured a way of how I can sharpen it. And more about knife care, I think I'll do another video on how to best sharpen a knife. But this is just another type of chopping knife. It has a sharp edge. I liked it because it also has a nice handle. The Victorinox one also has a nice handle. It's plastic. I have this one that I bought in a supermarket, which I found very handy. It's a stay sharp knife whereby it has a sheath where you can insert it in its case. When you're not using it, you just put it inside. But I also liked it because it's a Santoku style knife. Santoku is basically this design. It's a Japanese inspired shape. And this, I like it because it's a short blade. It's good for small jobs. When you want to chop, this is very good for that. Now there's a knife like this. Is a utility knife, a paring knife, basically a small knife. This is perfect for small jobs or for cutting vegetables. And there's one here that I have from Edge of Belgravia. I got this one from, they are based in the UK. I got this from them. They sent them over to me. This is a boning knife. Now this knife is really handy, especially if you're boning, removing meat on bone, or you are, if it's fish, something like that. It's flexible. It's a flexible knife. But this is not a must-have, especially in the kitchen for most people at home. But just good to mention because I have it. Another good knife here is a serrated knife. A serrated knife like this one is perfect, especially when you're cutting something like vegetables, especially tomatoes. This is always sharp and it cuts easily. And especially when you're slicing tomatoes, this is the perfect knife. It's small. It's better than using something like this because sometimes this one gets dull. But this one, especially when you're using, the trick about when you're having knives is to have different knives for different jobs. You don't use one knife for the whole thing. For example, here I also have a serrated, can call it a bread knife. This can cut cake. I've also had this for a long time. I think same time as this. I bought them in the UK when I was actually working in the UK, and it has served me well. Right now it's not as sharp as it used to be, but the good thing about a serrated knife, it's always sharp, and especially because you use it for either cutting bread or fruits, this works very well. So this one here is a carving knife. Now a carving knife is good when you have roast meat, let's say like roast beef, a big chunk of beef, or fish that is whole. something like salmon. If you have smoked salmon, you can slice using this kind of a knife. It's usually a sharp knife and it's firm, and you can easily carve the meat. Again, this is also not so necessary at home, but if you in case you come across a knife like this, they are meant for carving. And just to differentiate briefly about knives, this one here is a chopping knife. The whole thing about a chopping knife is that you need to have your fingers not touching the board. If you compare to this one, you can't chop with this because your fingers are actually not preventing the knife from making contact with the chopping board. So the whole thing about a chopping knife is that you do that. So just to recap on these specific knives, the most important one is a big chef's knife or a chopping knife, a smaller one, maybe a serrated knife or a bread knife that has a wide blade like this one, a small knife like this one, either a serrated one or a small utility knife like this. Those are the main knives you need to have. But now I want to unveil the new Nakano knives that I've got. Nakano knives it's a Japanese brand. Recently I took part, actually earlier this year, I took part in a challenge, and part of the challenge you are winning some knives, and I got to win this set of knives. So I'll unbox this, and then I'll also now show you the difference between this brand of knives and what I like them, because this is my new favorite knives compared to all these that I have. So let me take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Here you actually explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. There are plenty of class topics, which includes illustration, graphic design, photography, film and video, lifestyle, animation, fine art, even marketing. So right now I'm actually taking a course by Jessica Kobisi because I'm actually upping my game. I'm trying to up my game on how to take photography, great shots, and she has a course, shoot and edit Instagram worthy shots, by Jessica Kobisi on Skillshare. So I'm actually taking that course, and it's really helpful. And what I like about this is that it's actually curated. The classes here are actually curated for learning, meaning there are no ads. They're always launching new premium classes, and you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity leads you. So the first 1,000 subscribers that click on the link on the description get a 1-month free trial on Skillshare, so that you can start exploring your creativity today. Thanks Skillshare for sponsoring. So this is a wooden series edition from Nakano knives. So I recently got them, and I decided, let me do an unboxing for it. First of all, I like the box. I like the red and brown, but I think what is most important is the knives themselves. Now, these knives are sharp. Just by feeling them, it's not heavy. Now this is a Santoku, and the thing about these knives, what I have come to appreciate, especially when it comes to, over the years I thought the knives that I had before were the best, but as you continue learning, and because you're always learning, I've come to appreciate this kind of a knife. Now this knife is made from high carbon steel, so it's stronger and basically to last longer. Not that the others are bad, but this is just more higher quality. In terms of maintaining the sharpness, it will actually do that. Now the thing about Japanese knives, they have this part which is long like this and sharp, which is different from European knives. Now this is a Santoku, this is a vegetable knife. This is basically do the small jobs, where, especially for the vegetables, if it's chopping or cutting. This is a chopping knife, or basically an all-purpose knife. And this one here, a Gyuto, it's basically now it's a stronger knife, and basically it's because of the shape. Now this one, you can almost even chop more things, but it's not a good idea to chop, let's say, a hard bone with this kind of a knife. You need to use the right tool. Now this is also good because it can easily chop, and the reason why knives have this curve is so that as you're chopping, you can easily move the knife like that. Also very sharp, high carbon steel, and this is a hardwood. Now it looks basic, it looks like a basic knife, but this is, you know, part of the thing whenever you're considering a knife is check the handle. How comfortable is it? This is comfortable. I'll also have to admit it's not the most comfortable. I've seen others that are more comfortable than this, but again, whenever you're choosing a knife, also think of that. Feel it. And now this will still work for me because it's sharp. You not use a lot of pressure or force to do your chopping and everything. And I want to thank Nakano Knives for sending this over. And these are my new favorite knives, so you'll probably be seeing them on my videos whenever I'm cooking with them. And I hope you've learned something new. Today's video was just meant to show you the different types of knives that you need to consider whenever you're at home. When it comes to care of knives, especially the sharpening part, which I know is something that is a pain to a lot of people, you can actually, what I can say right now is you can have the sharpening rod or the stone, but for the stone is very technical in how to get it right. But I think the easiest one that you can get in terms of something that can sharpen your knife is those mechanical ones that you can insert and then drag your knife and sharpen. But more about that in terms of how to take care of your knives, I'll probably do another video some other time and show you how to do that and the best way to maintain your knife to be sharp, because when you have a sharp knife, it will be your best tool in the kitchen. Dull knives are very dangerous, especially because you use a lot of force to cut something, and in case it slips, that force that you're using will slip and cut your finger. If it's sharp, you're not using a lot of force. Even if it slips, because you're not using a lot of force, even if you cut yourself, it will not be as deep. So that's today's video. I hope you learned something new. I'm signing out, and I hope you get to watch the rest of my videos on my channel. If you have not subscribed, consider subscribing and hit the bell button so that you're notified whenever I have a new video out. Until next time, goodbye.